Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in this week. Have a super fun episode for you with Daniel and Natalie, full of a lot of good info. The reason we're doing this little intro is we actually had to split it into two parts because there was so much good stuff in it and we didn't want to take anything out. Not only do we do this podcast to learn from each other as entrepreneurs and get tips and advice from each other, but we also love to hear the story behind the business and get to know the people behind it and the people that are running the business. And Daniel and Natalie had an awesome story. So part one is really going to focus on, their story and the events in their life that led them to Kaktos. And then tune in for part two next week, which we'll talk a bit more about the day-to-day life of Kaktos and actually getting that business up and running to where it is today. Super fun episode. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll catch you in the episode, guys.
This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Flamingo Pools, your go-to maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Stop wasting your valuable time trying to take care of your pool, and let the professionals at Flamingo Pools take care of it for you. Visit azflamingopools.com for a free quote today.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers Podcast. Ridge and I are super excited this week to have Daniel and Natalie Bobik. We got a couple of stars here, a basketball star and a Price is Right star. So
Price is wrong, Bobby.
Why don't both of you take a couple of minutes before we kind of get into, I forgot, so you guys are the owners of Kaktos Socks. So before we get into that, why don't we talk a bit about, both of your past lives before that came together.
The background, sure.
Yeah.
Where do you start, right?
We start as freshmen in high school.
Oh, that's true.
So that is where it started.
Right.
Yes. That's where you fell in love with me.
Kind of true. So I was a freshman in Provo at Timpview High School, and Daniel's family moved in and
From Southern California.
Yeah, Southern California. So we were, you did 8th grade.
Yeah, we did different.
In Provo, but I did not.
Yeah, we
Anyway.
went to different middle schools, but went to the same high school as freshmen.
Okay.
Nice.
So in 9th grade, I was a cheerleader, and Daniel was a basketball player, and he was 5'9", and had like a size 13 shoe.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't awkward at all.
And he would wear this backpack that was heavier than he was, all hunched over, and like walk
really
across
smart.
the commons like doo 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 doo, and I was like, oh, he's so cute.
She freaked me out. Man.
I loved him, but I was a little crazy. So yes, I have all sorts of memorabilia from freshman year, little stick figures I drew of him playing basketball and me cheering underneath the basket.
Oh, wow. No lie. She would during warm-ups and stuff, she'd go and stand underneath the basket and take pictures, and she'd do her little cheer, Dan, he's my man. If he can't do it, no man can. She'd kick herself in the face and give star fingers and stuff. You know what I mean?
This is all true story.
And my teammates were looking like, bro, you see that? What's going on? I'm like, dude, I have no idea, man. I can't get rid of her.
Did that make you play better or worse?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It made me super focused.
Oh, it was so funny. Anyway, he got super sick. They didn't know what he had, and he didn't come to...
Missed about a month and a half or 2 months of school.
Yeah,
Missed
he
the
did.
whole
Oh, wow.
basketball season, so I was super sick.
Forever.
I thought I had leukemia, a kidney infection. There was a bunch of stuff. They didn't really know what I had, and so I just didn't go to school for almost 2 months, basically the whole basketball season. And she'd come by and check out on me every once in a while, and just I remembered that she made me this kind of cool little candy bar poster thing, right, where it said that
was so the thing to do in 1994.
Totally, man. I mean, hey.
It was.
I was. I come like, hey, and slap like a big hunk on the poster board. You know what I mean? Can't wait for you to and put like a score bar like that. Can't wait for you to score big again in the games. You know what I mean? And so like, I just remember that. And I was a 14-year-old kid, right? I mean, I'm like, this girl is seriously creepy, but but she was really nice to me. And I don't.
Reggie's over here taking notes.
All right, this is what I need to do.
That's it.
So funny. Anyway, after that year, he moved back to California.
Okay.
We didn't see or talk to each other for 5.5 years. So it was a long time. I finished high school. He finished high school, went on a mission. I dated somebody else. Had my life planned out with that kid. Really. Yeah. And then he came back. And
I was at school at BYU.
Yeah,
so I went to BYU for my freshman year in high school or college. And I just remembered that she was nice to me. And I just, like I said, I kind of remember that. And, moving in 8th grade is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And so, anyway, I remember figuring out where she was. And
he looked me up on the stalker net.
Yeah, they kind of since
because at that point, you could, search somebody in the BYU computers, and it had all of their information.
I call it direct.
Oh, really?
Everything.
Nice.
Yeah,
so he called me at my home phone, my family's house.
Which doesn't even exist anymore, home phone.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. My sister answered, and she liked my other boyfriend, so she didn't tell me that he called.
Yeah, dude.
I think twice or something crazy. Anyway, he finally got a hold of me, asked me to a football game, and
it was really weird.
It was weird, but not weird.
Not weird in a bad way, but weird in I haven't seen this girl since I was
he was 5'9", and now he's 6'6", and a college basketball player.
Yeah.
I was 5'2". Now I'm 5'9". I'd also gained about 40 pounds.
Which is super crazy.
It was a long year at college, okay? Anyway, but we went on a date, and it was so comfortable and so not like a first date when you haven't seen someone for 5.5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
It was.
I hit him in the stomach and chased him up the stairs.
At which point I did a Dumb and Dumber and she straight biffed it right on the steps, which was cool. But it was one of those awkward stuff, and I obviously was pretty focused. I wanted to play in the NBA and wanted to pursue basketball, and that's why I was going to school there was to get better at basketball and try to make it to that next level. And so I fought it for a long time, but felt like it was the right thing to do to go ahead and continue to pursue the relationship. And we ended up getting married, and it was kind of crazy. And then I transferred from BYU to Oklahoma State, and kind of had to walk out and had to get a release from my scholarship in order to be able to pursue other schools and things like that. So we were.
I almost killed him.
Yeah, we were pregnant, so so mom and dad lived about 3-4 miles away from us. I had family, cousins. We played half a dozen games in Southern California, close to family. I was in a pretty comfortable situation there at BYU, and basically I walked into the athletic director's office and just told him, "Hey, listen, man, I need a release from my scholarship." And
I don't know where I'm going.
Well, yeah, you can't do it that way. That's the way that works. It's not like you can just be like, "Hey, I already got another school." And so I walk home and I tell my wife, who's 7 months pregnant, that, "Hey, I'm going to take you away from your mom and your dad and your sister and grandbaby number 1 in Utah, where she's kind of grown up and known." And she was just like, "Well, it wasn't a good day, man."
It wasn't a good day.
Let's just leave it at that, man. It was that's all about. I remember that day.
It was a bad day.
But it was crazy because we ended up at Oklahoma State. We took a trip out there, and it was it just. Felt
I didn't even know where Oklahoma was.
Yeah, it was crazy. We just decided to go out there. So long story short, because I'm sure there's a million other questions. You asked one question, and we just keep going.
Yeah, we're done with the interviews.
It's over now.
But I think it's interesting because it sets us up for the decisions that we've made and kind of where we are right now. Yeah. Is that left a really comfortable situation at BYU where we had family and I had a scholarship, and I went to Oklahoma State where I didn't have a scholarship my first year. I moved my wife 1,100 miles away from family, had never lived away from home.
With a brand new baby.
With a 6-week-old baby. She came after her 6-week appointment, and then after that it was and I was working at a gas station trying to make enough money to, I was putting, I was stocking coolers and bagging ice and
painting gas pumps
and cleaning out, car washes and the whole 9 yards, man, for $10 an hour. and trying to play basketball, trying to go to school, trying to get acclimated to a new area and stuff like that. Wow. And it was tough, man. Like, it was a super tough situation because I could have stayed in a situation where I had a scholarship, I was comfortable, and I was good.
Yeah.
And fast forward the next year, we ended up going to the Final Four. And I ended up starting that whole year. And of course, I didn't want to leave BYU and go sit on the bench for 2 years. The egg would have been kind of on my face. You know what I mean? But worked really hard and played really well and got a chance to play. And we played on a team that won a boatload of games. And we won in dramatic fashion. We were a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. We were playing against St. Joe's. That was kind of number one. They had Jameer Nelson and Delonte West and a couple other NBA players and stuff. And I'm out there playing with these guys. And, we hit a shot to put us up by 2 with about 7 seconds to go. And Jameer Nelson, who's the college player of the year, is coming down, and I'm guarding this dude. And, it's basically, him or me, basically. And he makes a good move, and I stay in front of him. And he makes another move, and I stay in front of him, and he shoots it. And I'm I'm about 8 inches taller than he is, and you have to shoot it crazy high. And he misses, and the buzzer goes off, and we're going to the Final Four, and I go and I find my wife, and it's in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and so, she comes flying out of the stands, you know what I mean, like WWE style, like gets in the top rope because they got those barriers between the court and she gets on top of that sucker and like jumps out into my arms and gives me this gigantic bear hug, and she's like, "Thanks for bringing me out to Oklahoma, even though at first I didn't want to come." And so for me, that was like really rewarding because, the year before I didn't have a scholarship, and quite frankly, I'm still paying for that year of school. Yeah. Right? Like, and so I leave a comfortable situation and I go someplace else all in pursuit of something that I really, really wanted, right? Like I wanted to play in the NBA. I didn't want to have any regrets and think that, and I felt quite frankly like I hadn't developed as much as a basketball player as I would have liked the 2 years that I was at BYU. And because I had that end goal of being able to play in the NBA, it was like, listen, I can do one of two things. I can sit here and complain about it, or I can sit here and continue to it is what it is, right? Like, this is the situation. Or I can try to figure someplace else out and really go and pursue that. And so for me, I didn't get a chance to play in the NBA. I mean, I played with 5 guys that played, 5 of my teammates were NBA players. I went over to Europe and played in Germany professionally for a year and had a great experience. But I just realized that as I got closer to that goal, it wasn't something I wanted anymore, And so... But I had some great experiences, and it's taught us, quite frankly, it's kind of led us up to where we are today. Mm-hmm. So it was
the best thing we could have ever done.
Yeah.
Ever.
It was great. It was great for a relationship, and it was good for, for setting us up for future opportunities, for sure.
That's super cool. So, sorry, I don't
Way more than you wanted to know, man.
No, not at all. That's what we wanted, yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to make the entire interview about the pre-life, but I do want to ask, at what point did you realize that basketball wasn't what you wanted in terms of like a professional career?
Yeah, I think that when I went over to Europe and just kind of saw what it was, right? Like I realized that, the closer that I got to it, it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of, it's a lot of work. And, it kind of sounds pretty sexy to be in Italy or Germany or France or Spain. And there's a lot of guys that go and do it. But for me, it just didn't feel like the right thing to do. And as much as I love basketball, I love my family way more than I love basketball. And I always will, And so it was like, listen, I can continue to drag my family around all over the place, but at some point in my life, I was delaying the inevitable, right? Yeah. I was going to have to get a real job. I wasn't going to make enough money playing basketball to probably just chill out for the rest of my life, and make millions and millions and millions of dollars or whatever, right? And so I can make a really good living, but, at best, you retire when you're 30, 35 years old and play for 10 years, or the first time you get hurt, and it's like, I got nothing else to do. Mm-hmm. And I have other things that I was interested in, so... Basically, it was kind of like after that first year, I realized that it just wasn't, I went and pursued it, and I realized that it just wasn't for me. So I just tried to make a decision and go someplace else, and kind of bounced around all over the place, got into, went from playing basketball to analyzing financial statements for a bank, doing commercial lending, and wanted to stick a pencil in my eye every single day I went to work, dude. I couldn't stand it. It was terrible, and I just, anyway, went back to school and got an MBA, and I had a job. I was working for the NBA's D League, and they call it the G League now, and I was kind of working for that, and I had a paper out early in the morning. I had a day job at in the G League, and I had baby number 3, and I was going to school getting an MBA all at the same time, man. Like, how in the heck am I going to make this work? I mean, I remember sitting at 3 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning, man, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, driving down with like a face mask on, like a ski mask thing, like crazy stuff, and like thinking, I am one pathetic loser. Like, no joke, man. I'm like, dude, I got no food. I got no job. My pets' heads are falling off. I just thinking, what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? Like, I got a college education. I played a lot of basketball. I'm getting an MBA, and I'm friggin' throwing papers right now.
Yeah.
This is terrible, But it was like all those early mornings gave me a chance to really think about, like, what is it that I want and who do I want to be and all that kind of stuff. And, I was paying a price for something that I wanted, further on down the road. And so sometimes it's really easy for everybody, I think, and, to kind of maybe tie it into the, the purpose of this podcast is, anything in this life, there's a price to pay for it. You know what I mean? And nothing comes free. And so anyway, that's kind of, to answer your question, that's kind of what I realized that at some point in my life, I was going to have to get a day job and a real job. And I was kind of delaying that inevitable piece. And I just decided I'm out. And I just went and did it.
But that was in Germany, and it was a tough decision.
It was hard. Him. It was super hard because I sacrificed a lot for it. I mean, heck, man. My family hated me for a year, man, for going out to Oklahoma. I mean, I sacrificed a ton for it. That's it. I mean, what's 1 year?
Yeah.
That's like nothing in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway. So that's it.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
So I got to ask, since you obviously been through this situation, and this could apply for, a job or starting a business, but, with basketball, you had this dream and then, it wasn't probably going exactly how you expect. You realize it wasn't for you. How do you know if something's just like difficult and you need to keep pushing through it, or to kind of realize like, hey, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I should go other places, and that's okay. Like you're not quitting, but you just realize that it's not for you. How do you know the difference?
Sure. I think that you gave yourself, like I have satisfaction knowing that I chased something.
Yeah.
Right. Like with basketball, like I gave it a shot. Right. Like, I worked really hard for it and I had a lot of great experiences. I still talk about it to this day. So I look back at it and say, hey, it wasn't a complete waste because I didn't play in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like, look at all the lessons, the relationships, the coaches and players, and the experiences that I had in terms of traveling all over the place. That's all really, really valuable stuff. I think at some point you have to ask yourself, what is it that you want most? You know what I mean? And is that getting you what you want most?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, I wanted to have a relationship with my family. You know what I mean? And I obviously wanted to provide for them and things like that. But I think that for me, the answer always is, hey, listen, give it a shot, work your rear end off it, pay whatever price you have to be good at it. And at some point you get closer to it. I just think instinctively you'll just kind of know, like, you know what, this isn't making me happy. Life is about being happy. Yeah. And being happy doesn't mean that life is easy all the time, right? Like, each one of us have different, things in our lives that are really, really difficult. Yeah. And starting a business is really, really hard, or pursuing something is really, really challenging. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you can't be happy doing it. You know what I mean? Sure. And I think if you find yourself not being happy, I think then you can realize, like, you know what? This really isn't something that I want to continue to pursue. Whether it's, relationships you're not happy with, your relationships. That's what it was for me in basketball. It was like, okay, I can continue to keep doing this, but I don't enjoy putting my family through all this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that hopefully that answers your question. Is I think it's important you pay the price for something that you think you want, but you can change, halfway through that, or two-thirds of the way through it, but you got to give it a fair shake. You know what I mean? And I think you get closer to it and you realize, am I happy or am I not happy? And if I'm not happy, it's like, this isn't for me.
For sure.
Figure something else out.
Yeah. I think that's awesome advice, because sometimes like you don't want to quit, you want to keep going, but if like you're not happy, it might not be for you. And there's plenty of other opportunities that you can pursue that can bring that happiness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Natalie, how about for you? Like, how did you overcome when, he wanted to move to Oklahoma and then move to all these other places for someone that was with family their whole life, or in like a comfort zone, I guess?
I was definitely in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Oklahoma was my first like big move.
Yeah.
And I just remember going around in Stillwater and being like, it's not Halloween every day, people. Because their colors are orange, black, and white, right? And I was just like, what is going on? Everyone's teeth are yellow. It's Halloween every day. And it was just all like my attitude sucked, right? And so just to make this short, I found through all of our moves that my attitude determines everything. Like, so the first year was tough. Like, I was a snot to him.
That's true.
Literally. I'm so embarrassed by my, just my attitude. It sucked. And it was hard. Yeah. Like, I mean, people understand why it was hard because I had a 6-week-old kid.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm moving to a place that I didn't know anybody. And it was crazy. But it was awesome. Like, so first year was hard. Second year was just fun. Like, I had friends and I met the team and everybody was so welcoming and we were a family and they had a great year. Yeah. You know, I started a company out there with my sister. That provided us to be able to travel. Well, that and Grandpa. Yeah. he helped a lot too. Yeah. But we were able to travel everywhere and like, then the third year there, same thing. Like, the company kept going. We started a t-shirt company that said "Cool Chicks Wear Orange." Yeah. And like, I mean, I would come into the stadium with a ginormous bag of t-shirts. We would get mobbed. Yeah. T-shirts gone, and I'd have this huge stack of cash. I'm like, here, Dad, carry that. Keep it safe. You know, but like, but that gave me the opportunity to like meet people, and we became kind of like me and my sister started doing this stupid dance in the stands, and we're known as the Cool Chicks, and we were basically another mascot. It was just so fun. Yeah. Like, we got to know people more than he did, but he was the one out there playing, you know? And then Germany, that was tough too, because I was pregnant when we moved over there and super sick. But we had a military base we were able to go to and meet new friends and go to church with them. I'm still super close with lots of those people. That's awesome. So awesome. And then after that, where did we go? Oh, back to Tulsa. Yeah. And we were there. Awesome. Love Oklahoma. Would literally live there again if I had the opportunity.
Which is crazy because that wasn't the case when he first started.
No. Yeah. And then we started moving because he got a job as a consultant. So we started moving every like 18 months. Oh, wow. So again, when we moved back to Utah for a short amount of time, I had a real bad attitude. Because at that point, I'd been out of Utah for so long that I was like, I really want nothing to do with this. Yeah, that's funny. For reals. Wow. And I had a horrible attitude, and it was our hardest move because of my attitude. Wow. And so after that, I was just like, okay, like, this is legit. Like, my attitude determines so many things. Yeah. And then we went to Canada. Best time ever. Went to Wyoming. It was rough because we were in the butt crack of the state. That was hard just because we're so secluded. Yeah. But still, great people, great friends, good opportunity. And then we ended up here. So I think just the biggest lesson for me was, and for everybody, like, your attitude will make it or break it. Yeah. Honestly. Like, if you go somewhere knowing or thinking you're going to hate it, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. If you go somewhere and you're like, this is going to be great, I'm going to make friends, we're going to have a great time, that's what happens. Yeah. And that's been so good for me because moving to Arizona was, I think, our 14th move. Wow. Some of those were in state where we were. Yeah. But most of them were different areas. Yeah. And so, I mean, 2 of those times were rough because of my attitude. Yeah. The rest were manageable. And now we have friends from all over the place. Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so fun. Yeah. Like, last week was my birthday, and one of my best friends from Oklahoma flew in. One of my best friends she lives in Northern California now. We met in Tulsa. and they just came and hung out with me for a week, and we
That's
had the
awesome.
best time ever, you know.
Yeah.
But I have friends that I would hang out with for a week all over the place, you know, and it's just so fun.
Yeah.
It's been a good life.
That's good.
Even though it's been a hard life.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, in some areas.
I definitely think like when life is going bad, it's so easy to look like outward and be like, well, what's going on around me? Who's affecting my life? Where I think we need to look inward and be like, okay, how is my attitude right now? And like, how am I perceiving this? 100%. And how can I change to make this better?
Yep.
So, I mean, come on. She went to Oklahoma initially at the beginning and said everybody's wearing Halloween stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
To selling it.
To selling it Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
Orange is like one of my favorite colors now.
Yeah.
Look at
That's
that.
a perfect example of just kind of the attitude shift or change, right? Like, I can't believe this. To like, you know what? This is great. This is how do I be a part of this? You know?
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
So I guess we got to ask the golden question now. So how do you go from basketball star to traveling the world to full-time career to a sock company?
Getting fired. Yeah. So, when we moved to Arizona, I was working for a Boston-based consulting firm, in a group that was basically, it was, a retired Harvard Business School professor who was taking his 30-plus years of research and building a consulting firm out of it. And I got, an opportunity to kind of help them, and it just wasn't a good fit, and they moved me to Arizona, or they let me move where I wanted to move, and we ended up here in Arizona, and I just wasn't happy, to be quite frank, and the craziest thing about this whole thing is that, I got blindsided. I mean, we bought a house, okay, and 6 weeks later, and I got a raise.
Gave him a raise,
at the end,
told him he was
first
doing
week,
a great
first
job.
week of April, everybody says, hey, you know what, you're doing a fantastic job. We typically don't give raises until you've been here for a year. I've been there for about 8-9 months, and got a raise, got a little bonus, and then 3 weeks later, I got unexpectedly let go. So we had just purchased a home, like March 1st, April 1st, get a raise and a bonus saying I'm doing a great job, and then the third week of April, all of a sudden I'm without a job, right? So
it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and
it still doesn't make sense.
And that's okay that it doesn't make sense, because I think, a lot of times, it's really easy, to look in the you can never. I mean, Steve Jobs talks about you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect the dots looking in the rearview mirror, looking back.
Hindsight
right?
really is 20/20.
It's it, right? And I look at it at the time, and I just laughed, right? I mean, I sat there. I didn't tell Natalie yet. I ended up. I took a taxi or whatever to the airport and Ubered it at the airport or whatever, and then just I sat there, and before I was like, how do I tell my wife that I just got let go? We just bought a house. We're just getting settled in Arizona. We don't know anybody. They gave me 1 month severance package. Okay, I just put like, all right, I'm feeling pretty good because I got a bonus. We just bought some kitchen appliances, made a couple house remodels, and all of a sudden I don't have a job, and I just started laughing. I mean, what do? You know what I mean? It's like, all right. It's like, this is crazy. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I kind of got forced into it, right, a little bit. It was like, and I went 10 months without a job. I figured, hey, I got an MBA. I have 7-8 years of consulting experience with some really good consulting firms. I'll find something out really quickly. You know what I mean? And I found out pretty quick that I just wasn't what I wanted. You know what I mean? And so I went 10 months without a job. And I'm telling you what, that was, extremely, extremely difficult. I mean, because you have, a family, and you start missing mortgage payments.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real here, right? If we're talking about, people, your audience that's listening to this stuff, you're looking at this saying, hey, I've never been late. You got an 800 credit score, and all of a sudden you miss a couple payments and stuff, and you're like, you're just going crazy, right? Like, this is crazy. So guess what I do? I go out and get another paper out. Hey,
Here in Arizona,
man, Arizona Republic,
was this
dude.
Last year?
This was a couple years ago. Man.
Okay.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, I mean, I got a paper route. I'm looking for a job. I'm, trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to put food on the table and make my mortgage payment. And, I joined a small little sock startup in Salt Lake, and I had a chance. I realized that I needed to purchase it, or that the way that I felt it was being run, because my consulting experience wasn't necessarily the way that I thought it needed to be run. So I tried to buy it. We had an agreement price on it, and the guy thought it was worth more than I thought it was worth. And I basically said, I'm going to walk. And so I started, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get back in the consulting world. That's what I know. It's what I've been good at. That's what I've been doing for the last little while.
Yeah.
Instead of traveling around all over the place, because I love my family, And I didn't want to basically be a road warrior, a guy that, went Monday through Friday, 45 to 48 weeks out of the year, traveling a bunch. I kind of try to avoid that at all costs. You know what I mean? And I got to a point where it's like, I can't. I got to get back into that deal. And I had an offer to go back. So here's the crazy part is, after being without a job for 9-10 months, I interviewed with a great firm out in North Carolina. And, while I'm waiting to hear back from them, they said, hey, listen, we like you. We're going to make an offer. I'm waiting for, I meet with a buddy of mine who actually I worked for $10 an hour in Stillwater at the gas stations. Wow. He owned all the gas stations. He sold them all, made a bunch of money, kind of retired, snowbirds out to Scottsdale area and kind of caught up. I mean, he's an older gentleman and he's like my really good buddy. And he just, we had some conversations and stuff and he wanted to help me out. And I basically had a decision to make. Do I get back into consulting and travel 45 to 48 weeks out of the year, or do I try to figure out this whole situation with an opportunity to get into the sock business, because I had kind of been in it a little bit when I was up in with that other small sock startup. Yeah. And for me, the biggest thing was, to answer your question, you're forced into it. A lot of times, I think a lot of us are just forced into it, to these situations where we have to figure it out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's okay. And it's really hard. And everybody will have their paper route moment. You know what I mean? I mean, crap, I was up at 2:00 in the morning and I'm thinking to myself, here I was, a dude that was making over $200,000 a year, right? I was making pretty decent money. You know what I mean? And I was thinking I could retire and this is great. And now all of a sudden I went from that to nothing and I'm out throwing a paper. And I got all this experience and this education, and I'm thinking, man, you start starting to doubt yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is insane, And but I think that for me, and that's kind of the BYU Oklahoma State thing, is I could have stayed at BYU and could have been totally comfortable, but I decided to take a gamble, if you will, to go to a place I've never been before, don't know anybody, but it's a great program. I think I'm a good fit from a basketball standpoint, and dang it, we're just going to go out there and figure it out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that worked out really well. And now here I am, I don't know, 10 years later, 12 years later, and it was like, all right, I can take this money. I got an offer from that consulting firm, and it was a lot of money, but it was travel 45 to 48 weeks of the year. Or I can, work together with somebody that I trust, and I can start a sock business. And I had met some people in the industry when I worked at that small little sock startup, and I talked to them, and they're like, heck yeah, man, let's do this. So now I have to weigh this whole thing. Do I get into something that's comfortable, but not super happy doing, or do I try to start something that I'm really passionate and excited about, that obviously there's some trade-off there, you know what I mean? And so I said, you know what, that experience 10 years ago, going to Oklahoma State, I'm going to roll that. I'm going to go behind that door. I'm going to walk through that door and see what happens, because you know what, I bet on myself in the past, and Natalie's learned a lot from that whole experience, and I feel like we're in this together. It wasn't like, it was really hard. It was a really hard decision to, and you can Natalie attest. I mean, I'm headed out to the high school. Our son was starting freshman year of high school, and I'm walking out to the freshman orientation deal, and I saw on my phone that I had gotten the offer from the consulting firm, and I said, I call her as I'm walking out the door, and I said, hey, I just got the offer from the consulting firm. Why don't you take a look at it? And let me know. And I get to the school 5 minutes later, whatever, and she's like, I don't know how we say no to this. It's such a great offer. These people are great. And remind you, I've been without a job for 10 months, still throwing a paper, right? So we're looking at this thing, and this is fantastic. And you know what? And it was more money than I was making in my past world, right? So you're like, wow, this is great. And I'm thinking to myself, and I start busting up laughing. She's like, it's not funny. Stop laughing. I was like, well, of course it's like this, right? I mean, 10 months of all this crazy stuff, and now all of a sudden within 24 hours of each other, we have two opportunities that couldn't be more different from one another. Yeah. So obviously we took door number 2, and because of the past experience has kind of proven to us, and we're trying to make a go at it. And quite frankly, I think the biggest thing for me is, what was kind of the guiding light for this is I was like, you know what? I want to have a positive impact on other people. I want to be able to build something, played on a lot of really successful teams. We've done really well, brought a lot of happiness and joy to other people's lives. Oklahoma State fans all over the place remember our team and some of the good stuff that we've done. And I want to be able to do something else like that. You know what I mean? I want to be able to build a brand that other people are attracted to, that has a positive impact on other people's lives. And what's really cool is I get to do it with my family. That whole Oklahoma State experience, that wasn't something I did by myself. It was something that she was right there along with me and enjoyed that experience, and our son. And that's the biggest thing is I wanted to start something that could have a positive impact and do it together with a family. And I figured, you know what? So what if I make a bunch of money doing consulting, man? I don't want to look back when I'm 60 years old and be like, you know what? I really missed the boat on my family's lives. You know what I mean? And
that was the biggest thing.
You know?
Because our kids were all at an age where they were starting to get involved, and he didn't want to be like, I missed out on all of it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and even now, I'm the head basketball coach at Quinn Creek High School, and I've been doing that for the last 2 years. And so for me, you know, I love the game of basketball, and I figured I've been very, very fortunate. I mean, my college coach is a Hall of Fame coach, and my dad played for him. So we're like the only father-son combo to play for this Hall of Fame coach. My dad got drafted by the Phoenix Suns. I mean, I had my high school coach played for Greg Popovich, who's the San Antonio Spurs coach. So I realized that I've been very fortunate to be around some really good coaches, and I can do one of two things. I can sit and chill out and just go to my son's games and just support my son or whatever, or I can try to pass that on to that knowledge and that experience to other kids, you know what I mean, that are 15, 16, 17-year-old kids who are, you know, making some decisions that are going to impact the rest of their lives. And if I can be a positive impact in their lives through a game of basketball that I know a lot about and been fortunate to learn, to me, that's what life is all about, is helping out other people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what led us up to this whole why socks. I mean, socks. I love socks. I mean, when I play basketball, every game I had to wear a new pair of socks, like a routine. There were 3 things I had to do before every game: take a shower, brush my teeth, new pair of socks before every game. Yeah. Like, you know, the equipment managers were super stingy and they didn't have nice socks back then. And so, like, you know, you put all your socks, like your practice gear and your socks on a loop, and you throw it in there and they wash it all together, and it'd come back and like the socks would be all crusty and hard and crap. And I'd have to put those suckers on my feet. And then of course you're playing basketball and your feet are hot and you get like blisters on the bottom of your feet. I was like, this sucks, man. This is ridiculous. So I think there's just something comforting about putting on a nice pair of socks. Like, you put something on a nice pair of socks and it just feels like quality. Yeah. And so anyway, that's what I want to do. I want to have a positive impact. That's what we want to do. It's just not me. It's like, I told her, I was like, I'm not making this decision. And she starts laughing. And she was mad, actually. She wasn't laughing, really mad. You know,
it's not funny.
You know? Like, it's not funny. Like, this is something we're going to do together, because I already did that, right? Moving to Oklahoma State. But I think that she trusts me enough now, and that we have grown enough together in our relationship where we can handle something like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's been 2 years, and it's been really, really hard. And everybody goes to China to get their stuff made, and we said, we're going to get it made here in the United States, and we're going to get the best materials.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. But guess what? Life's not easy. Doing something special or doing something unique or different, it's not easy. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people, in my opinion, a lot of people just want to make money in this world. Well, there's 6 million ways to make money in this world. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can go sell stuff on Amazon. You can go there's all sorts of stuff you can do. And that's great. And I think a lot of people look at it and say, well, I want to make money because I want to help out other people. And that's fine. And I don't have an issue with that. But I say, why can't I do something that has impact and provide for my family at the same time, and provide opportunities for other people to grow and develop at the same time? You know, it's not make money and then I go help out other people. It's, why can't I do it along the way? You know what I mean? And instead of just saying, oh, well, I just can't wait till I be a millionaire and build this business. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I'll sell my company or whatever, right? Or IPO, or I'll sell it to somebody and I'll have all this boatload of cash and I'll just go, you know, give it to everybody, or nonprofits, or I'll go live an easy life. And like, listen, whoa, newsflash. Yeah. Life isn't easy. Have you ever been on vacation for a week? After a week, I'm like, dude, after like 3 days, I was like, dude, I got to do something productive with my life. Like, sitting here just chilling out, drinking pina coladas or whatever is like, it's great, but it's like not what life is all about. You know what I mean? In my opinion, it's about working hard and building something and helping other people out. And hopefully I can do that, or we can do that through this company. And that's why I wanted to do it here in the United States, because most everybody else doesn't do it here. Yeah. And, you know, our cotton's grown in Arizona. So the cotton farmers in Safford, Thatcher area all grow the best cotton, grow the Pima cotton in the world. It's more expensive, but I don't care. To me, it's not about, you know, margins. You get into margins and all these different things. And yeah, it's about margin. You need to make money. No, there's no question about that. But to me, it's not about the socks. It's about being able to have a positive impact into people's lives with a day-to-day essential that everybody needs. I mean, you go in your sock drawer and everybody's got 10 to 20 pairs of socks, whether it's for dress socks, whether it's for working out, whether it's for hiking or skiing or what you name it, right? Yeah.
There's about 50,
There you go. So you make up for others that have 5. You know what I mean? But on average, everybody's got a lot of pairs of socks and for different types of things. And so it's like a daily essential that people need that put on their feet. And there's just something nice about putting, a nice pair of socks on your feet that, that realizing that you're doing something for other people, man. So anyway, that's a long-winded answer to your question, but that's why socks, and it's been hard, but it's been hopefully rewarding, and hopefully we're just getting started.
Yeah.